Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Hurricane Watchman is here with your tropical weather update for Saturday, August 25th, or 26th, 2023. So we are going to be talking about Invest 93L here. And as you may know, we've been getting a lot of storms here in the North Atlantic, more than we usually would have when we would have been regarding with such a strong El Nino there in the equilateral East Pacific. Very, very strong. And some meteorologists and climatologists were worried that this would happen. We would see a significantly more amount of tropical weather or tropical activity given such a strong El Nino. Yesterday was actually August 25th, the 6th anniversary of Hurricane Harvey, one of the most devastating hurricanes to impact the United States. One of the second most deadliest or most costly hurricanes, right there next to Hurricane Katrina at $130 billion. Hurricane Harvey coming in at $125 billion in damages. So this is what we'll be dealing with here. I do want to talk a little bit about this storm and how it is already beginning to look very well defined or well developed. You can see some outflow up here, so outflow bands developing. The outflow moves clockwise, as you can clearly see. In the center moves counterclockwise at the lower levels, as you can see this moving counterclockwise. Tropical Storm Harold, it really, at the last couple hours of it making landfall, really took advantage of those warm waters in the Gulf of Mexico. We even saw a bit of an eye wall trying to develop right as it was making landfall, where we were seeing those 55 mile an hour winds gusting to 65 miles per hour. That's really where we were seeing, and so it really took advantage of those warm sea surface temperatures, and that's what I think this Invest 93L is going to be doing, and I think it's already happening. We're seeing very high cloud tops. We're talking temperatures ridiculous up here. I think I just click on this, and we're seeing temperatures in the whites. Now we could see the purples and pinks, but once that happens, we could be dealing with temperatures about 70-80 degrees below 0 centigrade. So we're dealing with very cold cloud tops right now. So deep convection, we're seeing outflow. This is already beginning to develop. As you can see, it is, I believe, at a 70% chance in the next 2 days. Right, here's what they're saying. Northwestern Caribbean Sea and Eastern Gulf of Mexico, Atlantic number 93. Shower thunderstorm activity continues to show signs of organization and association with an area of low pressure located near the Yucatan Channel. Environmental conditions appear conducive for further development of this system, and a tropical pressure is likely to form within the next day or two as it moves generally northward over the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. Interest in the Yucatan Peninsula and Gulf of Mexico, western Cuba, and Florida should monitor the progress of the system. One of the things that I want to mention is when dealing with this system right here, and other systems like another storm that developed, and generally this area, farther off to the south rather, was Hurricane Michael. It developed farther down here, and as it came up, it intensified. It was like, they originally said it would be a 70 mile an hour tropical storm when it made landfall. It made landfall at 160 miles an hour. And so a lot of the models right now are just kind of, it may make landfall in Cuba, it may make landfall in Mexico, it may make landfall in Florida, it may make landfall in Alabama. Right now, the models are all over the place because they cannot particularly find a center of where to pinpoint where the center is, and that's how they are able to make where it's going to go a little bit easier, a little bit more easier to figure out. Really don't need to really talk too much about Franklin. It's going to be a fish storm here. Going to kind of move out to sea around this high pressure here. Move out to sea. Just like that. This is the main system that we want to talk about. We're going to get into models very, very quickly. We're going to be talking about its effects, the rainfall, the winds, storm surge probabilities, what you need to be doing. First things you need to be doing is if you live in Cuba, Mexico, Florida, northeast Gulf of Mexico, just prepare for this. Have your medicine ready. If you have any medicine, have food for your dogs, have non-perishable foods, have a gallon of water for everyone living there. If you have a generator, make sure that generator has gasoline. Make sure that generator is 10 to 15 feet away from the house, because carbon monoxide will leak through walls and you will die of carbon monoxide poisoning in your sleep. We saw that in the winter storm of 2021 here in Houston. Lots of people died just because of carbon monoxide poisoning. Not just freezing to death, for carbon monoxide poisoning. So keep those generators away from your house. Do not, at any given point, do not let your generator run inside your house. It will only kill you faster. So that's what we're dealing with that. Prepare. If you have the means to evacuate, I suggest you get everything that you need. Get clothes, just pack your stuff and travel west. Travel to Houston, Louisiana, Arkansas. Just travel west, alright? That's what matters. Just travel west. If you have the means to evacuate, just leave. If you can now, do it. Because this storm is only going to develop and get stronger in the coming days. Alright, off to models. I want to talk a little bit about models, what we got going with this system. Alright. So this storm definitely does rapidly develop. Okay. Alright, 24 hours. Here it is in 24 hours. It almost looks like it goes off to the left here. Alright, here's 24 hours. Here's 48 hours. You can see it develops what would almost appear as that eyewall developing there, where we're seeing more of the convection there. 72 hours, it moves well to the north and to the east, completely out of the cone of uncertainty. This one showing more of a landfall there in Cuba. If we go to 96 hours, we don't even need to go to 96 hours, like 87 hours, and then 78 hours, it makes landfall there in Cuba. Possibly a strong tropical system. It just kind of is all over the place. There you go. It does develop some sort of an eye. Essentially exact same place where Hurricane Ian made landfall, which is crazy, honestly. There it is, practically the exact same place where Ian made landfall, and it just makes its way up through Florida. This is just one of the models. This one does not show another landfall in South Carolina, fortunately. It keeps going and just exit off to the north and to the east. Maybe know if it'll show the storm coming into the outer peripherals of Florida yet. No, thankfully it doesn't. Alright, take a look at the GFS and see what the GFS is showing. Good lord, this is... freaking don't even have high resolution. Okay, that's fine. That works. This works just fine. Let this load and then talk a little bit about what the models are showing. Bro, models don't even really show anything. It really just shows a very weak tropical system. I'm talking maybe 60 miles an hour with what the GFS is showing. It really looks like it's showing a 60 mile an hour tropical storm make landfall there in Alabama there. Very, very weak. Very, very heavily sheared. Do not think this is going to happen. I don't think there's going to be a lot of wind shear in the Gulf of Mexico. I mainly think there's going to be a lot of there's going to be unstable atmosphere in the sense that there's going to be very, very low shear, moist atmosphere, and those water temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico are 88, 89 degrees Fahrenheit across most of the entire Gulf of Mexico. That's really what we're looking at here. So there's no reason why there wouldn't be this storm developing rapidly. Now, in the sense that, let's say it doesn't, and this does happen to be what comes out. Guess what? This entire stream of moisture is going to go right into Florida. So there's going to be flooding all across the southeastern United States. Southwest got it. Now the southeast is going to get it. All right. So that's really what we're looking at. The flooding. If this happens to be the scenario that plays out, flooding is going to be the worst issue. Okay. Now, regardless, flooding is going to be one of the worst issues. Either way, water is the number one killer of people when it comes down to hurricanes. It's not the wind, actually. Hurricanes really produce a huge amount of water, and every single time we see these storms, most people die from flooding. Saltwater flooding, meaning storm surge, inundation at the coastline, We're seeing destruction of buildings because of storm surge, flooding. We could see, depending on how powerful this is, we could see easily 15, 20 feet of storm surge. We could be dealing with, 24 to 36 inches of rain, depending on how fast or slow this is moving in a few areas. We could be dealing with tornadoes are possible. And then obviously you have the hurricane force wind, which could be absolutely catastrophic and devastating, depending on how strong this is. 130 mile an hour hurricane, we could easily be dealing with, if we're dealing with a 130 mile an hour hurricane, devastating, catastrophic amounts of devastating damages in Florida. So really have to monitor, watch how strong this gets, and just the intensity of it. All right, with this system, it's total precipitation. It's good. Wind speeds a little bit easier. Getting a better idea of where this storm is going to go, how strong it's going to be, and its effects. So the European model really doesn't show an intense storm at all, fortunately. Seventy 72, 96, 105. I mean, it's not a very well, again, developed storm. Low-end tropical storm, according to the European model, maybe 40 to 45 miles an hour upon landfall. Looks like it's, according to the European model, heavily wind sheared. But look at this. If we just go and take a look at the satellite right now, look at it. The storm doesn't appear to be a lot, if any, kind of bits of wind shear. Look at this. Deep convection. Alright? If we just take a look at the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean, and we just need to look at the Gulf of Mexico. Alright, this is in the mid-level. That is generally drier air, but it isn't significantly drier like we do see in some areas. And look at this. You can easily see the outflow right here. I do want to draw this on here. See, this is the outflow right here. That's the outflow channels, roughly. And they're going in this direction. Alright? Now at the center, we got wind speeds going in this direction at the low levels. And so we do have a tropical cyclone, tropical system trying to develop right now. And this is what I'm worried about. We do have deep amount of convection near the center. We do have outflow trying, to work and get itself organized. And that's kind of a sign that we're looking at. Not very, very good with that. We do have some dry air. Again, we do have dry air through this entire area. Generally, this entire area, really, it's really this whole area right through here. I don't know, something like that. I don't even know. But regardless, there is some dry air in the Gulf of Mexico. We're going to be watching this and how this interacts with it. And that's going to be a big factor in how this storm develops. Take a look at that's low. So that's really water vapor at the low levels. You look at the mid levels, which is really what matters. There is a little bit, but nothing like we are seeing at the low levels. The mid levels and the upper levels are generally what matters. But it all matters. We look at the water vapor at the upper levels. Not bad at all. It's really the low levels that we're seeing a majority of the dry air. But the mid and upper levels, not bad at all. Not bad at all. And then here's the development of that system once again through satellite. So we do have convection. We do have outflow channels developing, which is a sign of tropical activity beginning to intensify. All right. I do want to take a look just the past. Can you even? Yeah, we have to go to this. So then here's the latest satellite imagery of this system. Deconvection is what we're looking at right now. So really that's it. That's what we're talking about with this system. Biggest threats are going to be the flooding, the possibly dealing with the storm surge, Tornadoes could be a problem for sure, and then obviously the wind speed. So if this were to make landfall, just a Category 1 hurricane, we could be dealing with 5 to 7 feet of storm surge. 5 to 7 feet of storm surge inundation at the coast. Could be upwards of 10 feet. Now, if we're dealing with a major hurricane, we could be dealing with, 15, 20 feet of inundation. So, we're going to be looking at this, we're going to be monitoring this, and talking about its effects in Cuba, Mexico, Florida, and the surrounding areas. Heavy rain and flooding are going to be the biggest threats. The storm does not look like it's going to slow down. There's nothing showing that this storm is just going to slow down and stop. We're going to watch this and monitor it, but right now, as of right now, the biggest threats are going to be the heavy rain, the flooding, the storm surge, the tornadoes, and eventually the heavy wind, if that plays a factor. Probably, as this storm does, probably get upgraded to a depression or storm later over the course of the next couple of days. We will talk about the development, and we'll most likely be watching and seeing what Air Force reconnaissance is saying about this system. But regardless, that's it for today. Probably do some live streams about this today. Want to make this little video really quick. Want to make it simple. Want to make it easy to understand. This is what we're looking at right now. That's what we have. That's really it for right now, guys. We're going to do more updates on this today. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. And as always, this is the Hurricane Watch Team, your source for cyclone information. Peace out.